Hey Bleeders, we want to give a quick shout out to Glad Rags, who sell eco-conscious menstrual cups and reusable cloth pads. If you've been thinking about making the switch, check out their products at gladrags.com and use the coupon code VICIOUS for $5 off products. That's VICIOUS. Don't feel bad if you've been spelling it wrong.
It may be primal, it may be vital, but it makes you homicidal. It's a vicious, it's a vicious, it's a vicious cycle.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Vicious Cycle, the podcast about periods and the people who get them. I'm Kate Elston, and I want to use our last names. So I'm Kate Elston.
Wow, curveball, Kate.
Hello, Kate Elston. I never knew your last name until today.
How do you spell that?
I am Meg Hayes.
And I'm Meg Trowbridge.
Okay, we can go back to normal.
My last name is so like blah blah.
I feel like we're exposing ourselves. I'm
Yeah.
like, Meg Hayes.
Oh god, now they know who I am.
Anyway, look us up, find us.
And we will ignore
Connect
your
on LinkedIn.
requests.
This episode is a continuation of our last episode where we had the interview with Nic Sommerfeld, and they were about to get into a crazy story. So that crazy story is coming up.
I believe we had just stepped away to grab beers.
Last you heard of us.
And then our
Yes.
minds were blown.
Yes. Cool. But before we get into that, does anyone have any periods to report on?
I am Blacording.
Wait,
Yeah.
what was it?
Yeah, yeah.
Wait.
Hi, I am Blacording. Hi, I am Blacording. And listen to me now. Wait.
I'm bleeding.
bleed,
Recording.
yeah.
I'm bleeding and
It
recording.
was also,
Okay.
oh, hi, I am Blacording. Oh, hi, I am Blacording. Oh, hi, I am Blacording. Hear me go.
I really like that one.
That's the one. That's the one. Okay, so Meg, how you doing? How you feeling?
Good. Can I talk about something? It has been, I'm doing the math right now, 14 hours since I put in this tampon.
Oh.
I left the house without one.
Oh, no.
I was rushed and I was like, oh shit. So far it's okay.
I don't smell you.
Thank you.
You're fine.
But I was just like, wow, after all that, it's an organic tampon, so I feel
Okay.
a little safer.
But if you,
We've all been there where
Yeah.
you don't change it from the night before, and then you are like all working, doing a million things.
next thing you know, you have mental confusion and a
Oh,
rash
my
on your face.
God.
Next thing I know, I wake up in the gutter, face down, again.
Cool. Any other periods to report?
Oh, yeah, because you kind of said you were Blacording because you were like in that
yeah.
week.
Yeah. I had a very weak period. Very weak. And then I had a
Don't be
very
so hard on your period.
sharp increase in libido.
Oh, all right.
Also, like, because my period was so weak, I'm convinced I'm with child.
And when's the last time you had sex?
No comment.
2 years, 7 months ago. Just kidding.
So should we get back to Nick's episode?
Yes. The people need to
definitely.
hear this.
Okay, so basically where we left off last time was that they were about to explain just why they have had a history of very weird periods. Here's the rest of the interview.
Ready to blow your minds. Here we go. So, when I was 19 years old, I was still in Montana, and I was about to move to California. I've lived in California from when I was 19 until now. So I was about to move to California. We had the whole thing planned, moving for college, And my mom was like, well, you know, before you go to college, especially out of state, like, maybe you should see the gynecologist. Like,
Some good mom advice.
so I go to the gyno, and you know, you're told a lot about it. So I had my own, you've heard stories.
Yep.
So I had my own perceptions, and like, I was like, okay, this is gonna suck.
Right.
And it was so painful. It was so painful. I was like, tears running down my face. I was so painful. And I remember the gyno sort of looking up at me, and she's like, it shouldn't hurt this much.
Wow.
She was like, something's wrong.
Oh my God.
So the next day,
shit.
I go to get an ultrasound to see if they can kind of see what's going on.
Yeah.
Where the pain's coming from.
Right, exactly. Where the pain's coming from, if there's like, because they think maybe there's like a cyst or like something like that. So they're like, okay. So they do the ultrasound, which like, by the way, I'm 19 and I'm like, this is weird.
Right.
And I'm having an
lot to go
ultrasound.
Isn't anything I ever thought I'd have.
Gross. Also, like, it's cold and it's weird.
Yeah.
So there was that whole thing, and they were like, okay, we think we know what's going on. We think it's like this like cyst or kind of fluid pocket, something. We're gonna have to get you into surgery.
What?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
A week,
So-
like less than a week before you go.
Yeah, I'm about to leave.
California.
I'm about to leave for California. So they're like, we need to get you into surgery, and I'm like, I'm supposed to leave town in like 3 days, and they're like, so tomorrow. I'm like, cool. So I go into surgery, and they end up basically cutting a hole in the wall of my, I guess it'd be the vaginal cavity.
Okay.
Yeah, a hole in the vaginal wall to like release this fluid pocket. But here's the thing.
Oh my God.
It wasn't a fluid pocket.
Oh my God, Nick, what was it? Was it your twin?
It was my twin. No.
I really thought that it was for a second. Meg did a gasp, and I was like, it's going to happen.
Oh, so worth it for that reaction. No, it was a second uterus.
Shut
Oh my God.
So I think I'm the first person on the pod to have uteri.
Whoa!
Uteri?
What? Holy shit.
Oh my
Dose.
God.
Two. Duh.
uterus.
So
Wow.
did they take out your second uterus?
Nope.
Because that doesn't seem like, that's like intense
That's
surgery.
kinda
That's
like-
like a
Yeah,
A
I mean, it's
hysterectomy
basically,
type
it's a
thing.
half,
Yeah.
it would be a half hysterectomy.
Holy
And I
shit.
think, I mean, I don't really, this all was such a blur to me because I was like, what is even
you're right.
happening?
I'm gonna
My
forget
mom's like
this.
driving me to doctor's appointments. I'm like, what even is going on? I'm like freaking out. So I don't even know if taking it out was an option
Right,
as much
yeah.
as just like, they were like, so from whenever I started my period until I was 19, there was a buildup
Oh my
of
God.
fluid
Oh.
that was the fluid pocket, and that had to be released. So they basically cut a hole in the uterine wall to like open one uterus to the other.
Right. Got it.
Um,
Oh my
That's-
God.
Crazy.
No wonder you have a crazy ass period.
Yeah.
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 So do you have a super heavy flow, or did you? Because you're getting like it from.
No, it was just
don't
from
know.
one.
Okay.
Oh.
But now, do you get it from both?
Honestly, I kind of feel like sometimes it's like one and then a little bit from the other. Like
Yeah,
I'll
that
have
makes
like these
sense.
weird, almost like 2 half periods in
Got
that
it.
are like, and sometimes I'll have like a true period. I think that's when it's like both at the same time. But sometimes I kind of get like one. I get like one, and then like weirdly like another like. It goes out of order of like how the cycle of
Got
like
it.
heavy days like
Right,
heavy to
yeah.
light days should be, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure it was like one and then
And then the other one's like, oh, well, we're at
Yeah.
it.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's fascinating.
yeah
I'm so sorry you had to deal with that right
yeah,
before
right.
college.
yeah and then like I think like the day after or like the next day after that, my mom and I drove to California.
Oh my God. And then you drove?
Well, my mom drove, and I
mean, but you were
laid
in
in
the
the
car.
passenger seat
Yeah.
with
You were in
like
recuperation.
trying to position my seatbelt in the least painful
my
spot.
God.
Like, can my seatbelt be above my rib cage on my rib cage? Because that's a great spot for it.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Uteri.
Wow.
So there you go.
I mean, so, because I do have a friend who has almost something similar where it was like, it was clear that her uterus was starting to split into two, but then it stopped. And then
It's actually the other way around. So when
Oh.
the body is forming,
Uh-huh.
fetus stuff.
Yeah.
When the body is forming, the last organs to form are your kidneys and your like reproductive organs. So it's your kidneys go from like one blob to two blobs. This is the precise medical terms,
Yeah,
right,
by the
yes,
way.
of course.
Familiar.
One blob,
Dr.
two
Sommerfeld.
blobs. Dr. Sommerfeld. PhD.
You were really feeling yourself
Right,
just
yeah.
then.
That felt good.
Nick's gonna go get their doctorate just to say that.
I've got to go get a PhD in something.
Be right back.
BRB, Dr. Sommerfeld.
Oh my god.
But
Kidneys are 2 blobs.
kidneys are one
or blobby
blob.
blobs, I think it was called.
Blobby blobs, yes, of course. Kidneys are one blob that becomes 2 blobs. And your bits sort of come together. It's 2 things that become one. At least that was my understanding when they explained it, like,
Interesting.
because I was like, how does this even happen?
Right.
And they were like, well, basically, you're like, it should have come together and it didn't complete that process. So you had I had one that like finished forming and like another one that didn't quite do the job.
Crazy.
Side note, when all of this happened, the guy who like was prepping me for surgery was like, by the way, at some point you should check to see if you have 2 kidneys. Fun fact, I don't. I have 1.
Whoa, and you only found out because they discovered the
No,
uteri?
I found
It all
out.
happens at
I
the
found
same
out. I found out later that I only had 1 kidney, but they basically warned me that I might only have 1 kidney because they
Right.
form at the same time. So yeah, that's that story. There's more fun that comes with 2 uteri if you want to hear about it.
I really
Yes.
do.
Yeah. Just
I
tell
really
us everything.
do.
It's just we'll be here for the next 3 hours.
Do you
but
know have you ever met anyone else with 2 uteri?
I haven't met anyone else with 2 uteri. I have met other people with 1 kidney.
Okay.
Which is also my friend. So I
Yeah.
think it was almost like
Yeah, so because they form at the same time, so it's
Yeah.
like, and the way it was explained to me when I had the surgery and all of that, like I said, where it sort of comes together. So the way they explained it was that, so these like 2 pieces sort of come together to form your uterus, all of the bits. And sometimes they come all the way together and they form just like a normal healthy uterus. And sometimes there's a little, like mine is like there's a 1 wall that stays completely, but sometimes there's like a half wall. So like the top, there's like a little wall of where they kind of came together
Right.
that doesn't completely go away and reaches into the uterus. And that's actually really problematic for people who want to get pregnant because
Oh,
it's
right.
literally like reaches in. So instead of the uterus having this kind of nice rounded shape,
Yeah.
there's like there's like this weird wall
wall
that
or
like
something?
half wall sort of a
Yeah.
thing. And sometimes it's really short and it doesn't cause a lot of problems, but sometimes it's longer, closer to like mine where it was like a full wall.
Right.
Sometimes it's longer and it makes it almost impossible for that woman to carry a child.
Sure.
Because it like there's this thing in the way
Yeah.
of
Wow. Right.
yeah.
yeah.
Whoa.
That's
I mean, this is super personal. Is that of interest to you?
Oh
Carry
god
a
no.
child?
Oh no.
Lol.
Lol. At like 15, I remember being like going to a doctor and them being like, well, like when if you want to have children, I was like, I don't. And they were like, well, when you're older.
You're
Imagine
young.
Yeah,
Pat
you're
on
young.
head.
You're young, pat on head.
Yeah.
And when I was like 25, I was like, well, I know I don't want to do this. And they were like, you're young, pat on. Like, when does this stop?
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
do you reach an
answer is
age
never.
where people finally believe you?
I think the
Yeah.
answer is when you become a geriatric womb, and then they're like, "Are you sure you can handle children? You're 35," and then it's like, "Oh, fuck yourself."
I will destroy you.
You
Yeah.
guys, the longer I am a teacher, the less and less I want children.
That's fair.
They are fucking exhausting. I love them to bits, but they are exhausting as fuck.
Meg just had her first week at school.
I had my first
so-
week
Oh,
at school.
that's fair.
I'm a little.
Coming off week 1 of
Sensitive.
school. Oh, poor man.
Again, the kids are
Pet.
really cute, but you become like super jaded and kind of a bitch. Like,
Right.
stop crying. I know that you're 5 and it's your first day of kindergarten, but get the fuck over it.
It's my first day too.
Okay?
You know,
We
we've all
gotta
been
move
through
along.
it. Like, get over
Yeah.
it.
Look at me. I turned out fine.
Girl,
okay?
you're gonna be okay. Please. But the one other thing I wanted to say about the whole uteri
Yeah.
sitch is that so they cut a hole in the wall of my vaginal cavity, right?
Yeah.
Which means one wall of my vaginal cavity is scar tissue.
Oh, fuck.
So that's been fun.
Oh. Hey.
So that it can drain.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are some of the
Side effects?
yeah, the side effects of the scar tissue?
So it doesn't feel great.
Cool.
So here's the thing is, and I no longer have a lot of, I guess for lack of a better term, vaginal intercourse.
Cool.
Yeah.
But when I did, pretty much, unless it was like someone I was dating for like a long period, so there was sort of like a consistency, it would, have to kind of, for lack of a better word, stretch back out. But it's scar tissue, which means it would kind of tear.
Oh no.
What I mean to say is that this thing rubbing against scar tissue is not the most comfortable feeling.
Yeah.
So it's not erotic, for example.
That exactly. An excellent word choice. Not the most erotic experience. Which is why I don't do that so much anymore.
Yeah.
It's I did it for a while, and like there was some enjoyment to be had out of
Sure,
it,
yeah.
but like I've kind of reached a point where I'm like, not enough.
It doesn't outweigh.
No, it doesn't
Yeah.
outweigh.
Fair.
Did that for a while, and I'm kind of over it. So yeah, one of the walls is scar tissue.
Ooh.
Yeah. Fun times. I just thought you guys would enjoy that.
Yeah. I mean, thank you for being so candid.
Yes.
Uh,
This reminds me of our interview with Allison, who
Yeah.
also had like some
yeah. Talks
sex
about how like
pain issues.
yeah, sex isn't always a fun time.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, it was Allison's interview that sort of prompted my idea to talk about it,
Yay.
because I appreciated hearing someone who had that experience.
Yeah.
Because I did have a lot of pain. Like I did have a lot of pain with sex pre and post surgery, and it is something that has been a point of contention in certain relationships, or I've just had to have partners that are really respectful of like, and we're done.
Yeah.
Like, and time out. Like,
Right.
and the pain is too much and I just can't right now.
Yeah.
But I do remember the first time I had sex post surgery, like after healing and blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. Bursting out laughing. Because I was like, oh, I get it. It's not always horribly painful. Like there's an enjoyable feeling that happens. Because the first couple times, well, and it's the problem. We don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Right,
The first
yes.
couple times it was insanely painful.
Right.
But I
But
didn't
that's what they
but
tell.
They tell you it's supposed to be painful,
Right.
and I was
Yeah.
like, all right, painful, cool.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it was like post surgery. It was like, oh, they're not just running into this wall of fluid.
Yeah. It's like all pressure.
Right. And so I was like, oh, there's some enjoyable feelings happening. What a concept.
That's insane. But then scar tissue built up.
Right, but then the scar tissue
Went right out the
and
window
all of
again.
and so it's like sometimes it was bad, sometimes it wasn't.
Yeah.
And so it became more of a like, I mean, I've never really did the one night stand culture because anyone that I wanted to be intimately involved with, there had to be a conversation.
Right. Of course.
So, I mean, like, I guess in that way it was kind of good. Like, I didn't really sleep around.
yeah.
Which, I mean, if you did, fine.
Hey, yeah,
you do
good
you.
for you.
But I couldn't because there was no guarantee that it wouldn't be horrendously painful, and there was no guarantee that the person would understand.
Right.
Basically, anyone that I wanted to date, I had to tell this whole story to.
Yeah.
Which is a lot, especially if you're like just starting to
Right,
date someone and you're
yeah.
like, by the way, if we want to have sex, there's a wall of scar tissue you might have to deal with.
Right. Okay. Can I buy you a drink?
So you want to come over and maybe do nothing?
And cuddle.
Cuddles are great.
Cuddles are great though.
Oh man. I have an inverted pubic bone, so I have to like put pillows under me to like elevate my tilt.
Right.
I also feel like I should ask more questions about that. This podcast has really empowered me.
Yeah.
To
You were
like,
just told
I
that
think
you
I
had
need
that,
to have
you're
like a
like,
sit
okay.
down conversation with a gynecologist.
Yeah.
Like, I've got many questions.
And I mean, angle was a huge issue.
Yeah.
Because the wrong angle was wrong.
Yeah.
The wrong angle was like, nope.
It was like,
Nope.
throw a
nope,
person off you.
Yeah,
for
it
a
was
week.
like, get off.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Never that. No.
Wrong,
Yeah.
bad, very wrong, bad.
Like, you just can't go toward that one wall because it's not cute.
Yeah.
It's not cute.
It's not cute.
It's not cute. No. Don't do it.
Vicious, 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 vicious cycle.
Bonus uterus.
Wow.
Uteri.
Bonus.
Nick is a uteri haver.
Crazy.
Guys, so you were there
Yeah.
with them for
We
this
were in the
episode.
room.
I was
Yeah.
listening back to it. I got to this part, my jaw dropped, and I thought to myself, bonus uterus, bonus episode. Bonus episode, bonus
Yes.
uterus, like together. So
Two
that's what
bonuses,
that is.
2 uteruses.
So that, I hope that's the title of this episode.
bonus uterus.
Bonus episode, bonus uterus.
Would be great though if it's called something else totally, and we still keep this in the episode.
Last names.
Everything's different.
I love because I knew when you were editing the episode. And like you were texting throughout, and you're like, "This sounds really good," and then all caps, "Oh my God, 2 uterus!"
I had no idea this was a thing.
Yeah.
I don't think I did either.
Yeah, no,
And
me
so I went and I did a little bit of research about it. And can I share with you some of the info? I mean,
course.
Nick brought a ton of info, but I just wanted to know a little bit more. And also, I don't know if Nick's like making this up. I know they're not.
Classic Nick.
But
They
what?
spin yarns.
So the scientific name of this is Uterus didelphus.
What?
1 in about 2,000 to 3,000 people around the world have it, so it's not that uncommon.
Yeah.
And a lot of people apparently don't even know they have it.
Yeah.
Because there's no, for whatever reason, they don't know, or they only find out when they're trying to give birth.
Yeah.
or-
Nick didn't know until they went in for an exam, and it was
Right.
like
Yeah.
crazy painful.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
insane. So yeah, like Nick said, every uterus starts out as 2 small tubes while developing in the fetus. And as they begin to develop, they usually form 1 uterus. They come together to form 1. But in rare cases, the tubes remain separate and become 2 uteri.
Whoa.
Sometimes this ends up with 1 cervix for both wombs, or sometimes each womb has a cervix.
Wow.
And sometimes it ends up with 2 vaginas. But Nick
Right.
didn't have 2
Whoa.
vaginas.
Right.
And
Wowzers.
what really blew my mind about what Nick was talking about is sometimes they said that their period, they think they like it went back and forth, like each
Like they
uterus
could
would
feel
bleed.
it. Yeah.
And that happens, they say. People with a double uterus often find that they have a heavy menstrual flow, and some people with uterus didelphus actually have 2 periods a month. That's like a confirmed thing.
Sucks.
Yeah. And people that have 2 vaginas, sometimes they find out that they have this condition when they have a tampon in one vagina and they're still leaking. And they're like, what the fuck? And
No.
they realize it's coming out of their other vagina.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
Wow.
So, and 15, according to Healthline and other articles I read, about 15 to 30% of people with double uterus have a kidney issue. So
yeah.
Nick was talking about that. And then I read some crazy stories about people that give birth when they have 2 uteruses. So in Florida, there was, of course it's Florida. It's always Florida.
Classic.
Of course.
There was a woman who gave birth to twins out of different uteruses.
What?
And
I mean, are they
technically-
actually twins?
And I don't think technically they were
Right.
twins because they weren't technically twins. And doctors put the odds of such a pregnancy succeeding at 1 in 5 million.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And she successfully gave birth?
yeah.
Wow.
And there can also be non-twins that are born days apart if they're in
my
like 4 days apart or something.
Because they were conceived on different days?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Or theoretically, they could have been conceived on the same day, but like due dates vary.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Crazy.
true too. Yeah. And
Right,
then
that's probably it.
And then also, while I was going through Wikipedia, there's also other uterine malformations, as they call them. So there's the arcuate uterus, which is a concave shaped uterus. There's a septate uterus, which is where it's like there's a triangle-shaped piece of tissue which divides your uterine cavity into two.
Whoa.
There's a bicornuate uterus, which is a heart-shaped uterus. So those are all apparently more common than uterus didelphys. And then this is so super side note. You know how on Wikipedia it says see also and it gives you like other articles?
Yep.
So I was like, oh, what's a bifid penis? So I clicked this. I just want to show you what pops up.
Oh God! I hope this isn't your work computer.
Why? What? No.
Double penis, double penis. I've shown them a picture of a bifid
Jesus.
penis, which is a rare congenital defect where two genital tubercles develop. It's like a double-headed monster.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't like it. Some of these things that Nick talked about and that we just read about, my friend, who I hope calls the podcast, has talked to me about, because I have a friend who was born with 2 vaginas.
Wow.
Cray.
So 2 vaginas, 2 uteruses?
So it sounds like she has the heart-shaped uterus and she has 1 kidney.
Wow.
So like a lot of similarities to Nick.
Crazy. So it is more common than we think.
Yeah. I mean, we know 2
two
people.
people.
Maybe one of
We
us
probably
has a
also
uterus
know
didelphys.
6,000 people, though. So the math works out.
Yeah. Maybe one of us does and we just don't know it yet.
Maybe that was
Maybe.
my inverted pubic bone. I really need to check
don't
out
you
this
think-
pubic bone situation.
I'm not going to let you say the word pubic bone on this podcast until you get it checked out and figured out.
That's
just
fair.
kidding. I don't care. I love you.
Talk about your pubic bone as much as you want. See, I have to think that if you've been to an OBGYN, at least they would see the 2 vaginas.
Yeah.
But I feel like for a long time, but I wonder, because like I don't think, so I had an ultrasound when they suspected I had cysts, and they were like, well, let's use a ultrasound to figure it out. So I assumed then they would have like, but like how often do women or, uterus havers have ultrasounds? Like,
No,
it could
unless
go
there's
so
an
long
issue.
with doctor's visits where you might not know this stuff.
Yeah.
I wonder, because since Nick didn't realize until they went to the gyno, I wonder if that's common
Yeah.
or how people tend to find out.
Right.
Because for Nick, it was like
Some
crazy
people,
painful.
Some people, I think that they don't know until they're trying to conceive and they keep having miscarriages.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're like, why is my baby not viable? Why is a fetus not viable?
Right.
And then they figured it out.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not painful at all until your fetus isn't viable. Before we do our Why I Cried segment, I was reminded because last week's amazing song Meg did, the Sound of Music
Homage.
Yes, about our smells. My husband Carl recently just listened to the endometriosis episode and accosted me and said, "Why did you not do a parody song, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?"
Stop it.
Wow.
And I was like, I don't know, and I feel ashamed that I didn't think of that.
We let our listeners down. We let
Challenge
ourselves down.
accepted, Carl.
No, that's it. That's the joke. That's it. He did it without us, before us.
It's atrocious. Something quite atrocious. You guys, it writes itself. I'll be right back.
Let's do a Why I Cried this week.
Okay. Why did I cry this week? Cry this week. Nobody's supposed to be here. When I talk about why I cried this week.
Wow. It's late.
This is not my best song. I'll start. This is so stupid, but I'm not even ashamed. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the soccer player Clint Dempsey.
Yes.
Familiar.
He just retired from the U.S. men's national team at the age of 38 after giving a good, over 18 years of service to our country's soccer team. And that's not what makes me cry. Like, people get old and don't perform
38
anymore.
is not old. It's fine.
38 is ancient in men's soccer. But, of course, with his departure from the team comes the montage compilations
Oh, boy.
of
Yes.
all 57 goals he has scored for the U.S. men's national team.
Oh
It
my
was on
God.
Instagram.
Oh my God.
And I watched all 57. And just because you guys know how I get about coming together.
People coming together.
People coming together. And that feeling of soccer just comes with every goal is utter emotion. No matter if it's the 6th goal of the game or whatever, there's always an outburst of emotion. And so it's just 57 goals worth of that I was watching, and I just cried. I cried because
From beginning to end.
and it's like he gave so much to the sport, and I cried from watching so many highlights back to back.
Man,
It's a good reason to cry.
sounds great.
Yeah.
Meghan McCain made me cry. I really appreciate her relationship with her dad, and I don't agree with her on most things. I do like that she's kind of like I feel like our generation's version of a conservative Republican, which is like someone that like is okay with gay rights and like things that we all grew up with as like a normal part of our upbringing,
Being pretty
which
accepting
like
of.
God, if that could be our future, I'd be so happy.
Yeah.
If that's like the future of the party.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't agree with her on a lot of stuff. I think she's really smart, and like I like hearing her point of view, and I appreciate her relationship with her dad, and just like seeing her go to pieces, and like you know,
over like at her dad's funeral.
at his funeral, like on top of his coffin with like the American flag draped over it. Like he's been sick for some time, so it was like a lot of buildup.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Don't listen to Joe Biden's eulogy.
Oh,
Do not
God, I will
listen
be
to
destroyed.
Joe Biden's eulogy.
I was about to watch the YouTube video of him comforting her, and I was like, I can't.
not ready for that. No.
I'm gonna wet my sweater
With tears.
with tears.
okay.
You guys. Vintage. Why I cried.
Like a throwback.
Throwback. Why I cried. Do you guys remember the? Oh my God! You might have to help me remember the title of this film. It was with Lily Sobieski. It was like
Heaven on Earth.
Yes!
Here on Earth. Wait.
yes,
Here on Earth?
yes,
Yes.
Yes.
And Josh Hartnett.
yes, and Chris.
Klein.
It. Oh my God!
Of course.
It's like
Pivotal film.
she like dies in the end. Like she's in love with two men. She chooses one, and she dies in the end. And there's like a scene where she and her dad are like together on her deathbed, and she's like, I loved being your daughter. And he's like, I loved being your dad. My sweater was damp. My 12-year-old sweater from Abercrombie & Fitch was damp from my tears.
Oh my God.
Like I had to wring it out.
I love vintage why I cried. We'll return to this.
Okay,
I mean,
great. I might have even been premenstrual at this point.
that's fair. It was building up at that moment.
Meg T, why you cried?
This whole cycle, it's just been like on the surface tears every day, like tiny little things that made me cry. So I just cried like 3 hours ago because I was at a Shakespeare performance in the park and they killed Caesar. And I cried, and like, I don't care about Caesar, but it was like Antony was sad, and Caesar was played by a woman,
Nice.
and I was just like,
Oh, yeah.
this is hitting me in just the perfect way. And then I was like, also like people coming together. I'm like, wow, all these people are coming together in a park, and like it's like immersive theater, so we're all standing and like moving around, and I'm just like, people are amazing and also so cruel, and like it's just really easy for me to cry.
Humanity.
Wait, I want to know if you guys have a vintage why I cried to share.
I totally do.
I don't want to do it. Maybe save it for another episode.
Will I have to come up with another theme song or just sing it differently? Like, wow, 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 wow.
Why I cried this week? Hey, hey.
Yes, we will do that.
Yes, I'm so excited. Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. That's our show. Check us out on all the social medias under Vicious Cycle Podcast. We're on Stitcher and iTunes. Tell your friends. We're having so much fun. We hope you are too. Remember to call the hotline.
9106 Uterus.
And that's it, you guys. Have a great week. Keep calm.
And tampon.
It may be primal, it may be vital, but it makes you homicidal. It's a vicious, it's a vicious, it's a vicious cycle.
Our theme song was performed by The Go Ahead. Check out more at thegoaheadmusic.com.